you have any relationship with the Guptas? And your answer was no.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Well, I think I did explain earlier. Perhaps the question was a little bit ambiguous because previously I had explained my relationship with the Guptas in Parliament. I explained them here that it was just a social relationship. So when I said no here, I probably meant that there is no relationship beyond social and just cultural, as I had explained.
So what you could perhaps have said is that your relationship was social and cultural.
I could have said that, yes.
So as I understand it, just to end off on that issue, you considered yourself to be a friend of Ajay Gupta.
Yes.
And in fact, you must correct me if I'm wrong, one of the reasons that you felt comfortable with Mr. Mngoma intervening as between you and the Guptas is because it then avoided the need for you to deal with Ajay Gupta. Is that correct?
Let me rephrase the answer to your question because it's leading in a particular direction. Chairperson, not that I felt comfortable in Mr. Mahlangu. I instructed him to manage the relationship so that I did not have to find myself extending beyond my social relationship with Mr. Ajay in the instance, because they are business people. I knew them to be business people. And I didn't want, for instances to arise which would cross the lines and extend the social relationship into what now would appear to be a business engagement. I didn't want that to happen.
So I think the point is that your friendship was close enough so that you didn't want that.
Yes.
And as I understand your evidence too, you surmised that perhaps he saw it the same way, and that was the reason, I think you surmised, why Mr. Mngoma would then have dealt with Rajesh Gupta and not Ajay Gupta. Do I recall your evidence correctly?
Yes, probably, yes.
And which of the other Gupta brothers did you know?
I knew all of them. I knew all of them. Well, there are three. I knew all three of them, and I would have met them on several occasions, including when I was there for the cultural activities, when we met at TNA SABC breakfast programs, at some of the programs of the ANC, and even at I think they hosted once or twice South Africa of the Year award, and I would have met them there also, because I was a guest, among others.
I got the impression that Ms. Mngoma was saying you and the Guptas were very close. You had a very close relationship, but that from your side, you were creating a gap or some distance without saying, I didn't know them, I never went to their residence, acknowledging that you did go there, but that there was that tension between your version and her version. She, on the one side, putting up things that suggested that the two of them, you and the Guptas were very close, but that your response sought to create some distance without saying you had nothing to do with them. Maybe that's where I got that impression. What do you think about that impression in regard to the two versions? Is it possible that maybe it's a question of she is saying you were this close and you are saying, no, not that close, but close, but not as close as you say I was.
Chairperson, Ms. Mngoma alleges that at a certain period, she says, I went to the Guptas more than
20 times.
20 times.
Yeah.
Then goes further in the same breath to say, I would go there every Monday before going to Cape Town and return there every Thursday, Friday, or Saturday upon returning from Cape Town. I indicated that if there were 52 weeks in a year, you're talking about 104 times, no longer 20. She says that on several occasions, Mr. Ajay would call me and we would discuss things. I say that's not true. She says that at some point, I was not picking up his calls, and I asked the question, if my phone rings and I don't pick it up, how do you know who is calling? She says that they gave me a car, which was in her name. I say there's no such a car. So I'm saying, Chairperson, that perhaps it's the Chairperson's impression that, or let me rephrase and say, the Chairperson's impression that Ms. Mngoma's version and mine are vastly different is correct. Let me state, Chairperson, that, knowing someone, even if you socialize with them, doesn't make them close to you. Doesn't mean that when I have customary functions at home, that I invite them. It doesn't mean that they are involved in the nitty-gritty of my life. There are people in South Africa who are my close friends. And those are people I would claim are close to me. And there are people I know. There are people I know that I would socialize with from time to time. Doesn't make those people to be close to me. When I say I know you, I can visit you, or I visit you, that doesn't certainly mean that you are close to me. So yes, I knew them, and I got invited to some of their social or cultural functions, but that certainly doesn't mean that we were close to the extent that Ms. Mngoma was alleging.